Today is a very auspicious day, Annada Ekadashi. All devotees, they are observing Ekadashi for the satisfaction of Krishna, not for any other benefits as are mentioned in Karma Kanda section, but exclusively to satisfy Krishna. Like Ambarish Maharaj, he did, and he was protected by Supreme Lord always, because he is fully surrendered to Krishna. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also showed by his own example on Ekadashi day, together with his personal associates, pure devotees, he would start chanting Harinam from early morning. And then they would chant whole day and whole night. And they were very sorry next day why night already ended. Because they are getting the taste of transcendental taste, not worldly enjoyment taste. Transcendental taste of serving Krishna through singing his glories, chanting his name for his satisfaction. So Mahaprabhu showed by his own example, and we have to follow this example to do more bhajan on Ekadashi, especially to chant more Harinam to satisfy Krishna. We are unable to do 24 hours because we are conditioned souls, but we should do as much as possible and hear also and sing the glories of Krishna. Then Krishna will be satisfied. Our devotion will be increased, and gradually we can come to the point of pure devotion, like Ambarish Maharaj. There it is written in Bhagavatam, he was sincerely performing sadhana. That is why he could gradually conquer all his worldly desires, other desires, gradually. By sincerely and steadfastly, means continuously he was performing sadhana. So we are also hearing Bhagavad Gita. Yesterday we heard this verse, neither the sun nor the moon nor the fire can heighten the luminosity of that blissful abode of the Lord. Like we cannot increase the luminosity of sun by putting some candle and some torch, something, not possible. Sun is self-effulgent and has enough light. Our light cannot heighten his light. Blissful abode of the Lord. It is not only abode of the Lord, it is blissful abode. There everything is made of bliss. Everything is spiritual, made of bliss, and very beautiful, charming, reaching which none is drawn once again into this mundane sphere of births and deaths. There, I heard from Gurudev, there is no suffering there, no difficulties, no disease, no pain, no birth, no death, nothing. Only blissful life in the service of Krishna. No difficulties. But in this world, all the time difficulties. It is the nature, asukham anityam. The one who created this world, Krishna says in Gita, this world is anityam and asukham, temporary and not blissful. He made, so he knows how it is. But we are bewildered by Maya and are not aware. That is why we are keep on trying something which is impossible. So here also Gurudev told, it is in Bhagavatam, one verse he quoted, this body is temple of diseases, not only one disease, many diseases, temple of diseases. It is by nature like that. So even if you want to cure, you can only lessen the difficulties. You cannot fully solve, because this fleshy body is made like that. It is one kind of punishment. For jivas who are averse to Krishna, we are getting this, and we are not thinking about this. And we are also not thinking, I am not this body, but I think this is my identity. But after that, this identity will not be yours anymore. Something else is there. And before this birth, also there was some other identity. But we are thinking this body is I, and this is all in all. And we are so much attached and so much, this is the main point. Main point. So all the time suffering because of this. But in past life you did not have this body. And you are not this identity which you think you are. This is false. The person is not this body. But we have to realize. So here in this world there is suffering during the time of birth, suffering during the time of death, during life there is disease, old age, mixed happiness, not pure happiness, mixed with unfulfillment and suffering, and threefold miseries all the time. It is like this, we cannot change this, and we are reaping the fruits of our own actions. All the sufferings which we are getting, physical and mental, it is all due to our own past karma. No one else is guilty, to be blamed. They may be instrumental, but they are not the cause. I am the cause, my previous actions. Krishna is giving the fruit. So those who are real devotees, not pretenders, but real, those who are devoted to Krishna, they don't blame anyone. They are patiently tolerating the fruits of their karma and not praying to Krishna to release them from karma. No, that is against devotion. What I did, I will get, and I will reap the fruits of those actions. Why Krishna will serve me? I am his servant. So they are never praying. That is against devotion. Those who are real devotees. And they are patiently tolerating, not blaming anyone, and they engage themselves by body, mind and speech for the service of Krishna. All the time. Because of their proper mood, they are actually released from all problems, even while in this world, and they are getting bliss. But if there is any other ulterior desire or any ignorance of blaming others or any kind of complaining and undue fighting with the environment, then we are prolonging our suffering. But if one reaches the abode of Supreme Lord, you cannot get there by buying ticket, €2,000, and I can go. No, there is another ticket, another price. That price is no desire to enjoy this world and only desire to serve Krishna for his satisfaction. That is the price by which you can enter that abode. You cannot buy physically something, you will go, no. Explanation: that is the supreme realm of mind, reaching which the jiva drinks the nectar of eternal bliss. Eternal bliss or worldly enjoyment, there are two different things. Sometimes we mistake one for the other. We enjoy kirtan, we enjoy prasad, we do enjoyment, and we get some sort of happiness, and we think this is this, but it is not. Eternal bliss, transcendental bliss, comes when we satisfy Krishna, not ourselves. When you satisfy, then that transcendental bliss. What is the proof? When Haridas Thakur or any pure devotee, they are doing bhajan, nothing of this world, any type of enjoyment can attract them. They are being tested for our vision to show really there is no any attraction. But if I think, oh, I got bliss, I was so happy, bliss, all this, but the next moment, then I have some desires of this world. So it does not go together. So that is a different thing. That is when Atma is engaged in the service of Krishna for his satisfaction, then automatically that transcendental bliss is felt in the soul, not in the senses, these things. In the soul, and that will remove all other attractions and desires and ignorance, all this will remove. So, nectar of eternal bliss. A jiva is either bound or free. In his bound state, he wrongly identifies himself with his perverted ego and tries to lord it over the phenomenal world. This is mine, it is meant for me, I will enjoy everything and everyone. In his free state, he drinks the nectar of my pure love, to attain which a man of the world must chop off the world tree by the sword of detachment. This goes hand by hand. When you become attached to Supreme Lord, automatically detachment from this world is happening. You have to give up. Otherwise, both you cannot have at the same time. So in order to attain that, you have to have detachment to this world. Because this is one thing and that is another thing. Sangha or association is attachment for mundane things. He who can disassociate himself from mundane relativities becomes nirguna and attains nirguna bhakti, transcendental, beyond these three gunas. Holy association is disassociation with the unholy. One time, when I went from India to Western countries in Chandigarh, 2000, then I asked Gurudev, what is the most important thing that a devotee should give up? Then Gurudev quoted from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Asat Sanga Tyaga Ei Vaishnava Achar. Stri Sangi Ek Asadu Krishna Bhakta Ar. It is the behavior of a Vaishnava, natural behavior of a Vaishnava to give up Asat Sangha, Asat Sanga Tyag. He will give up association of unholy, means those who are sense enjoyers. Yes, it is further stated. Stri Sangi Ek Asadu Krishna Bhakta Ar. One asadu is one who is attached to woman, means, or man, it means those who are sense enjoyers. And another is Krishna Bhakta. They are impersonalists who they renounce enjoyment of this world. Money, woman, name and fame, all this, they give up. But they are not devoted to Krishna. They only want to renounce this world to get release from suffering. That is also selfishness. Liberation is selfish. Liberation is only you want to be free from undesirable state. But once you are released, then what you will get, what you will have. That is not defined by mukti. It is not defined what is the goal. It is only coming out from undesirable state. But what is desirable, that is not defined by mukti, by liberation. So they are also selfish. They want to be liberated. They don't want to serve Krishna. And they think I am supreme. I am supreme. I am spirit, and this world, well, Maya, is all false. So I am supreme. So they have no devotion to Krishna. So he is also a sadhu, not holy, unholy. Holy is only one who is in the service of Krishna. Narad Goswami says in Pancharatra, Sarva Padavi Nirmuktam Tatparatana Nirmalam. You have to be free from all worldly egos, gross and subtle, and Tatparatvena. You have to understand that you belong to Krishna. Then you are Nirmal. Then you are pure or holy. Otherwise you are unholy. So here, holy association means to associate with Krishna and his devotees is disassociation with unholy. Yes, so I forgot to tell. So Gurudev quoted this verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita. So he said, to give up association of non-devotees is the most important, what Vaishnava will naturally give up. Then Guru said, but this will be impossible for you unless you take association of devotees. When you take association of devotees, then naturally you can give up association of non-devotees. They will take you to some other ends. But devotees, they will always inspire you to serve Krishna. So that is, we have to accept. To stay alone is better than, if you are a devotee, is better than to stay in association of non-devotees. But best is association of devotees, and together, unitedly, there will be more strength to serve Krishna. It will be more easy. So, a worldly man, by associating himself with the holy, must shake off all mundane attachment and strike at the root of this world tree. So this is compulsory. We need higher association to give up lower. We need higher taste to give up lower. Only by knowing and by trying to negate, then it will not happen. Like a Jamil, when he became attracted to that prostitute, then he was thinking in this way, I should not think about prostitute. I am Brahmin, I am married, I got order from my father, I should not think about prostitute. All the time negating, I should not. But there was no positive thinking. That is why indirectly he was all the time thinking of that prostitute, and ultimately he became fully attached. That is why in devotional practice more stress is given on the function of real self, to serve Krishna, to think of Krishna, to think of his devotees, to serve them, to hear about them. All this is the practice. Automatically other thoughts will be removed. But only saying, or like our Gurudev used to say, when there is darkness, you will say, darkness, go away, go away. How darkness will go away? But when you bring light, when you accept the light, then automatically darkness goes. Like that, when we accept our real self and our real function, the service of Krishna, and when we accept Krishna and his devotees, then automatically all other things will be removed naturally. So importance is given on this. So here, by associating with the holy, you will shake off this mundane attachment and strike at the root of this world tree. Those who renounce the world and take recourse to pseudo-asceticism cannot get rid of this world. So many examples in Shastra. Sobari Rishi, underwater, for many years he was doing bhajan, 10,000 years. He wanted to detach himself from this world, but could not. He fell down by jnana. And Vishwamitra, he also by yoga tried 60,000 years, but he also fell down because of not accepting Krishna, higher taste. Rasa Vaisa. Krishna is the embodiment of rasa. So that is pseudo-asceticism, trying to renounce only, not putting importance on reality, which is we are eternal servant of Krishna, so we should serve him. So service of Krishna is actually higher taste, which can remove attraction to these other things. Bereft of all desires, those who resort to my Nirguna Bhakti cult attain redemption from this world as a result of pure devotion. We have example, Ambarish Maharaj. Although he was the owner of whole world, but he had no attachment, because he was attached to Supreme Lord. And Raghunath Das Goswami, he was so rich, but he could give up everything and did bhajan. And other Goswamis also. Sanatana Goswami was so rich, prime minister and all position, everything. But they could easily give up by getting higher taste. And so many other examples like Haridas Thakur or Srivas Thakur, that Sridhar Pandit. He was very poor and Mahaprabhu offered him, whatever you want I will give you. But he said, no, I don't want. Dhruva also. Narayan said, you take kingdom, bigger than your father. Then Dhruva said, no, I don't need. Now, when I got you, I don't need anything. When I found jewel, what is the necessity of having desire for some broken glass? No necessity. Prahlad also did not accept any boon. No, I'm your servant. So the proof is there that one can attain redemption from this world as a result of pure devotion. So my teachings of Bhakti cult is the only desideratum to attain eternal bliss. In the previous chapter, the qualitative nature of empiric knowledge and the nirgunahut of pure knowledge as subservient to pure devotion have been mentioned. In this chapter, the qualitative aspect of asceticism and nirgunahut of pure detachment, concomitant to pure devotion, have also been mentioned. So, pure knowledge that beyond Triguna, that is subservient to devotion. Devotion is superior. Devotion is highest type of knowledge. So in previous chapter, Gyan was there, but here this asceticism of yoga is also shown that it is concomitant, it is subservient to pure devotion. It will automatically be there when one has devotion. Mamaivangsho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatanaha manashashtani indriyani prakritistani karshati. But there is a fragment of my divine self which constitutes itself into an everlasting life principle known as Jivahut in the world of mortals, and which draws unto itself the five senses with mind as the sixth sense that are bound always in matter, that is to say Prakriti, as gates of empiric knowledge in the body. So here Krishna says, Mamaivangsho Jivaloke. So some people, they take this verse and they say, Jiva is Supreme Lord, because it is Angsha of Supreme Lord, part. But Gurudev said, if you give one verse from Gita as evidence, then you have to accept the whole Bhagavad Gita as evidence. Not only pick up one verse and in isolation with all others, you will try to make some conclusion. You cannot. That is, Shankaracharya did all the time this. Taking some verses and supporting his own view, but not in harmony with other verses. That is why that is misleading. It is not correct. So it is true, Jiva is part of Supreme Lord. But what kind of part? Mamai Vangsha is my part. What kind of part? not part of substance, but part of potency. Potency and potent in Supreme Lord, they're non-different because they're inseparable, like diamond and its shine. But every part of diamond is diamond, but shine of diamond is not diamond. Like that, all angshas of Krishna, avatars, they're omnipotent, and Vishnu Tattva, they're enjoyer. But potency, although non-different because it is inseparable, even if you collect all the potency, all light particles coming from diamond, still it will not be diamond. That is why Jiva is Vibhinangsha, because Krishna Vibhinangsha, not Svangsha, but Vibhinangsha, because Krishna already before said that these 8 elements are my lower energy. And besides that, there is superior energy made of jivas. There he says Prakriti. Krishna is never Prakriti, he is Purusha. Purusha has Prakriti. So jiva is part of Krishna, it is true. But what kind of part? Part of potency, not part of potent or part of the substance. So that is why so many misinterpretation of Shastra going on by those who are not surrendered to Krishna and are not accepting the reality, the truth. Explanation: if you doubt as to the twofold nature of the jiva, I may say that I am the all-being intelligence blissful, that is Satchidananda, Supreme Lord. My divine self is twofold, with associated part, that is Sva Amsha, own part, and two separated part, Vibhin Angsha. As associated part, that is Svangsha, I descend as Ram, Nrishinga, Baman, etc. My separated parts represent the jivas who are my eternal servants in the world. The principle of my Supreme Lordship fully exists in my associated parts, that is Svangsha, but not in my separated parts, in the jivas. We are servants, we are not enjoyers, over whom a separate individual egotism prevails. But still, the jiva is eternal, whether in bound or free state. In the later stage, he is entirely my protege, one whom Krishna is protecting, I think, free from any connection with Prakriti, that is with body and mind, while in the former stage he draws unto himself the mind and the 5 senses as his own, with which he is bound in nature. So there are Mayavadis, they will say, Jiva Brahmaiva Napara. Jiva is Brahma, nothing else. Now, when Brahman is covered by Maya, some part, that is Jiva. When you remove that Maya, then there is only Brahma. So you are Brahma, you are God, you are Supreme. Like you have one pot, earthen pot, and you put it like this. So there is some air inside, and air is outside also. So if you break this pot, then that air will be same, no difference. Like that, Jiva is God. This is how they explain. but it is all false, misleading, because Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam. We are conscious, but particle of consciousness, and also sometimes it is said we are qualitatively one with Krishna, but quantitatively different. It is true in one aspect. When you say that Krishna is conscious being, not matter, Jiva is also conscious being, not matter. And Krishna is big, we are small. So qualitatively we are same, but quantitatively different, so we are his servant. That is okay. But if you go more details, we are quantitatively different and qualitatively also different. Especially this verse says, we are small particle. That is okay. But we are also qualitatively different. We are not part of him. We are part of his potency. So we are also qualitatively different. We are his eternal servant. We are not part of him as Swangsha. That is why even when Jiva attains liberation from material energy, still Jiva is eternal individuality, always different from Supreme Krishna. For Mayavadis, they say when you remove matter, then everything is one, no difference. But that is incorrect. Jiva is eternal entity when bound, now misidentifying with matter, but even when liberated from Maya and attains her own Sarup, is eternally individual. Jivar Sarup Hoy Krishna Nitya Das. We are eternally his servant, not only for the time being. Mayavadis, they will say, yes, now you worship God because you cannot meditate on that. You worship by worshipping, then when you will remove Maya, then you will become God. There is no need of worshipping God because you are God. Like that Mayavadi said, I am Ram, whom I will worship. But the thing is, worship is eternal. Tad Vishnu Paramang Padam Sada Pashanti Surya Divu Chakshuratitam. Rig Veda says, devotees, they are always seeing Vishnu. Transcendental Vishnu, always they are seeing. So, object of devotion is eternal, devotee is eternal, devotion is eternal. So, when Jiva is liberated from the clutches of Maya by devotion, not by Jnana Yoga, that is not complete liberation. Complete liberation means realizing your Swarup. Bhagavatam says, Mukti means this, to be reinstated in your Swarup. That is your eternal servant of Krishna. So that time also we are under the protection of Krishna. He is always our master. Free from any connection with Prakriti, body-mind. So there is no any disease there, and mental tension and all this is not there. No difficulty is there, only pure bliss. That is why we have to make effort to attain that. That is what we want, but we are searching in a wrong place and trying to get in a wrong way. We are trying to fix this matter, but it can never happen. Only we can little reduce the symptoms of suffering here in this world by this method, but we cannot solve permanently. Permanently, we can solve the problem only when we go out. Otherwise, we will be frustrated. We can never get that. So, when Jiva is in Sarup, then is in that platform. But when she is bound, and she is not bound by force, it is due to our fault. We misuse our relative independence. We don't want to serve Krishna. That is why we are bound, not forcefully. And no one else can release us from the clutches of Maya except us. We have to submit willingly to Krishna. No one can do that instead of us. Krishna does not do, Guru does not do. They are giving instruction, but you have to do. When you submit willingly, then that Maya will be taken away. But we have our part to do, because we are conscious being, we have relative independence. Otherwise, Shastra would be all useless. Vedanta Sutra says, if Jiva had no free will, then Shastra would be useless. Why Shastra is saying, don't do this, do this. If you do this, you will get this. If you do this, you will get this. All the, for whom this would be? So Shastra is there, instructions there, everything is there. Or as we fall down in the well, then Guru will throw that rope. Without that rope, we cannot come out. But unless we catch that rope, we also cannot come out. That is why Mahaprabhu came to teach Sharanagati. We have to do Sharanagati. Sixfold Sharanagati. I'm giving Braja Prem, but from your side, you have to do Sharanagati. And he was teaching Sharanagati. And that we have to do, we have to practice. Sometimes we hear, oh, I am not getting mercy of Supreme. I'm not getting mercy, so I'm bound, I'm not getting mercy. But this is all wrong. Krishna is always merciful to all. Guru is always merciful to all. But we are not accepting the teaching. That is why we are not liberated, because we are not accepting their teaching. Not that they are not merciful. If you would do like Dhruva did, like Prahlad did, like Ambarish, you would get same result. But we are not doing, then who is to be blamed? Shariram yat avapnoti yachapyut kramatishvaraha grihitva tani samyati vayurgandan ivashayat. When the jiva, the proprietor of the body, gets into a body or abandons it, he departs, carrying with him the senses and their desires, like the wind carrying fragrance from the flowers. Explanation. The jiva always carries with him the sixfold senses with its desires whenever he gets into a body or abandons it. That is not the final end of a bound jiva who gets his body as a result of his karma and forsakes it in due course. He passes from one body to another with his desires, physical and mental. Just as wind takes fragrance from flowers and departs, so the jiva goes forth from one body to another with its subtle sense percepts and sensualities. So subtle body we carry. When we give up this gross body, then with that subtle body, where all the desires and sanskaras and all this is stored, that will carry us to next one. And with that subtle body, we will enter into that new gross body. So it is not like there is only one trial. Now, when you do good, after you will die, you will go to heaven. If you did bad, you will go to hell, eternally heaven. After this, one birth. It is not like that. That is oversimplification for the sake of that level of consciousness, but it is not eternal. Hell is not eternal. You will suffer if you do wrong activities. Once you will, that will expire, then again you will be free. And if you do good, you will get enjoyment, but that will also expire, and like this. So with subtle body, we are transmigrating all the time in this world. Sometimes Svarga, sometimes Narak, sometimes king, sometimes beggars, all this. According to karma, we are going. And this will never end unless we submit to Krishna. Unless we remove the root cause of why we are bound, we cannot go out. It will never happen by passing of time. Shankaracharya also said, you cannot be liberated just by passing of time. Like, I will die, then I will be liberated. No. It cannot happen by the passing of time. Because the root cause of our bondage, that desire to enjoy, is still there. It is not removed. So all the time it will go on. But if by good fortune we gather enough sukriti and get sadhu sangha, then in that sadhu sangha we come to know what is the root cause of our bondage. And when we execute, when we remove that cause, then we can be liberated from gross and subtle body also. That is in Bhagavatam. Mukti is described when you are released from gross and subtle body and you are reinstated in your Swarup as eternal servant of Krishna. That is permanent liberation. Otherwise, this will go on continuously. Sometimes more desirable material conditions, sometimes more suffering, and all this is going on. That is why devotees, those who are real devotees, sincere devotees, they will accept that according to my past karma, let me get, I will reap those fruits, and I will not blame anyone, I will tolerate, and I will only worship Krishna. When he sincerely accepts such mood, then even in this world he will be free from all suffering and will have absolute bliss. Tomorrow we will hear further on this topic.